Game 2 of the NLCS delivered high drama, intense emotion, and a result that's got everyone talking. Milwaukee came out swinging but couldn't hold off Los Angeles's relentless attack, as key moments on both sides of the ball completely flipped the game's momentum. Missed opportunities, bullpen breakdowns, and clutch performances defined this matchup, leaving fans wondering what went wrong and how quickly it can be fixed before the series slips away. On the other side, Los Angeles looked locked in, executing their game plan with precision and poise under pressure. Stay tuned, because we're breaking down every turning point, every decision, and how this loss could reshape the Brewers' approach heading into a pivotal Game 3. What a night of baseball, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 of the National League Championship Series gave us everything: tension, emotion, and pure October drama. But when the dust settled, it was the Los Angeles Dodgers who walked off that field looking like a team on a mission, and the Milwaukee Brewers who left it scratching their heads, wondering what exactly went wrong. This wasn't just another loss for the Brewers. This one hurt deeply. Because for much of the game, they were right there. One inning, one pitch, one missed opportunity, and suddenly the series has a completely different feel. So today, we're breaking it all down: the key moments, the decisions, the heroes, and the heartbreaks that defined this game. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts on the series so far, and subscribe if you want daily playoff breakdowns from around Major League Baseball. Now, let's talk about what really went down in Game 2 between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Brewers came into this one knowing they had to make a statement. After dropping Game 1, the pressure was on. You could feel it in the stadium, you could see it in the players' eyes. Their season wasn't over, but this was the kind of game that could swing momentum for an entire series. Then came the third inning, and that's when things started to unravel for the Brewers. Mookie Betts stepped to the plate, calm and confident as always. First pitch, cutter foul. Second pitch, another cutter that caught just a little too much plate. Betts didn't miss it. He lined it into left for a leadoff single, and from there, the Dodgers smelled blood. Freddie Freeman followed with a double down the right field line, putting runners on second and third with no outs. The crowd erupted, and Burns suddenly had to dig deep. Will Smith came up next and hit a sacrifice fly that brought home Betts, giving L.A. the early lead. But it wasn't just the run, it was how easily the Dodgers put pressure on Burns. They forced him to throw strike after strike, work deep counts, and made him labor. By the end of that inning, he had already thrown 60 pitches, and you could sense Milwaukee's bullpen getting loose. At that point, Brewers manager Pat Murphy came out to get Burns. You could see the frustration on Burns' face. The competitor in him hated being pulled, but he'd given everything. The bullpen came in, and for a moment, it looked like they might stabilize things. But this Dodgers lineup doesn't give you breathing room. Yency Almonte kept Milwaukee in it with a solid sixth inning, but the Dodgers' bullpen was just better. They went to Joe Kelly, who threw absolute fire. The guy looked like vintage Joe Kelly, fearless, attacking, and ready to challenge anyone. He struck out 2 in the 7th, and walked off the mound with that signature swagger that Dodgers fans love. Still, Milwaukee didn't go down easy. In the top of the 8th, William Contreras lined a double into left center to start the inning. The Brewers bench was up on their feet, clapping, yelling, trying to will something to happen. Carlos Santana came up next and worked a tough at-bat. He fouled off a few pitches, laid off the slider, and eventually drew a walk. Suddenly, the tying run was on base, no outs, and the heart of the Brewers' order was coming up. Dave Roberts made the move to bring in Evan Phillips, the Dodgers closer, but a man used to working multiple innings in October. Phillips threw a 96 mph cutter that painted the corner to strike out Taylor. 1 out. Then he got Bryce Turang to roll over a ground ball to short. The Dodgers turned 2 just like that. The rally was dead. The stadium exploded. Dodgers players were screaming, fans waving towels, and the Brewers were left shaking their heads again. In the bottom of the 8th, L.A. added the insurance run they needed. Shohei Ohtani, who had been relatively quiet in Game 1, stepped up against Joel Payamps and lined a rocket double off the wall in left center. It wasn't a home run, but it felt like one. The sound off the bat was deafening. Mookie Betts followed with a single up the middle to drive him in, making it 4-1 Dodgers. That was it. The knockout punch. By the time the ninth rolled around, the Brewers looked drained. You could see it in their body language. They were chasing pitches, swinging too early, pressing for something that just wasn't there. Evan Phillips came back out to finish what he started, and he did it in dominant fashion. He struck out Yelich on a slider that dove out of the zone, got Contreras to pop out, and then froze Canha on a cutter for the final out. Dodgers win, 4-1, and take a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. What made this game so fascinating was how balanced it looked on paper, but how different it felt in execution. The Brewers had chances. They had their ace on the mound, they had runners in scoring position multiple times, but they couldn't deliver when it mattered. The Dodgers, on the other hand, were surgical. They didn't waste pitches. They didn't chase bad ones. They waited, capitalized, and executed the small details that win October baseball games. That's what separates contenders from champions. And you have to give credit to Dave Roberts for managing this game to perfection. He trusted his bullpen, made the right pitching changes at the right time, and didn't panic when Milwaukee threatened. The decision to go to Phillips early? Genius! The way he mixed Kelly and Gratterall before that? Textbook postseason managing. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee, questions are starting to pile up. Where was the offensive support for Burns? How do they plan to counter Yamamoto's command if this series goes deep? And what adjustments can they make at the plate? It's not that the Brewers aren't talented, they are. But against a team like the Dodgers, talent alone isn't enough. You need to be perfect in the small moments, and right now, Milwaukee isn't. One major talking point after the game was how patient the Dodgers hitters were against Burns. Normally, he thrives on inducing weak contact early in counts, but L.A. flipped the script. They forced him to go deeper into counts, made him throw 20-plus pitches per inning, and by the fourth, you could tell he was running on fumes. That kind of strategy wears pitchers down, and the Dodgers executed it perfectly. Another big factor? Defense. The Dodgers' defense was flawless. From Freeman's smooth picks at first to Betts' cannon throw to second in the fifth inning that saved a run, every defensive play mattered. For the Brewers, though, there were a couple of small miscues: a bobbled ball by Turang, a slightly offline throw from Yelich, and those little things add up fast in the postseason. Let's not forget about Yamamoto. This was a defining performance for him. Coming from Japan with all that hype, all that pressure, and stepping onto the biggest stage in MLB and delivering? That's special. His command was elite, his poise was veteran-like, and his ability to bounce back after Yelich's homer showed serious mental toughness. Dodgers fans have to be feeling good about this kid, because he looks like someone who's going to dominate October for years to come. Post-game, Burns was honest in his interview. He said, "I just didn't execute. Against this lineup, you can't miss, and I missed too many times." You could feel the frustration in his voice, but also the accountability. That's what makes him a leader. But accountability won't be enough. Milwaukee needs answers, and they need them fast. Because here's the reality: going down 0-2 to the Dodgers is not just a hole, it's a canyon. Teams rarely come back from that against L.A. The Dodgers know how to close. They've got the bullpen depth, the offensive firepower, and the experience to finish this series early if Milwaukee doesn't respond in Game 3. As the teams now head back to Milwaukee, the crowd will be loud, the atmosphere intense, but the Brewers will need more than energy. They'll need execution. Their bullpen must stay sharp, their bats must wake up, and someone other than Yelich has to deliver that big moment. If they don't, this could be over fast. Baseball in October is about resilience, and we're about to find out how much of it Milwaukee has left. Until then, that's the story from Game 2: a brilliant performance by the Dodgers, a tough loss for the Brewers, and a series that suddenly feels like it's slipping away. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown, subscribe for more MLB playoff coverage, and let me know in the comments, do you think the Brewers can bounce back in Game 3, or is this series already over? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in